Hello everybody and welcome. This is Alan Walls of Alan Walls Photography, and today is the results video from our October 2024 macro photography competition. It's coming up in just a minute and you do not want to miss it. As most of you know, we do this competition every month, and for the last year, I've had a second judge in every competition. I just think it's a good idea to do it that way. This month was going to be no different. It was going to be me and Dr. Bud Parrott judging the pictures. But unfortunately, at the last minute, Bud was called away and will not be able to judge the competition with me. But I think it's really important that we have a second judge. And I started casting around looking for volunteers, but I think I left it too late. Now, as it happened, this weekend I was scheduled to be working in a collaborative project with a rather famous artist. He's from this area. His name is Lonnie Stewart. He's a sculptor and a painter and a photographer in his own right. And we've been working on a collaborative project that I can't tell you anything about because it's secret. But while I was in his studio on Sunday, I mentioned to him that I was short one judge for this month's competition. And he said he would be delighted to help. And this was one of the greatest honors that I have enjoyed since I've been doing this. Lonnie is a remarkable visionary artist. His work can be found in the Vatican, in museums all over the world, and in public places on display in big cities. He's been sculpting his whole life, and he's got a gift that I find rather hard to put into words. Lonnie sculpts people, usually famous people, and animals as well. And recently he's been doing more insect work. And I couldn't help but notice on his bookshelf in the studio were pretty much every book on beetles that I have, as well as every other book on insects that I have. He also had both volumes of Arthur Evans, which convinced me that the man was serious about insects. Anyhow, we judged the competition together, and we did it the same way I do it with all of my guest judges. Lonnie made up his mind about each photograph. I did the same, and then we discussed them. And then at the very end, we put them in what we thought was the fairest order that we could come up with. And amazingly, even though it took us several hours of work and 2 sessions to get through all the photographs, we ended up with pretty much an identical final order, which consists of 7 honorable mentions, the top 10, and 2 images tied for second place. Unfortunately, this all came about far too late for me to make the arrangements to actually have Lonnie appear in the video with me to do the judging live. But I'm sure that I'll be able to talk him into coming back again at some point in the future, and we will make sure we plan it ahead and do it properly. Lonnie is a very fair judge, and he has a very astute eye. He spotted all the issues that I spotted, as well as a few that I didn't. But what I really liked about him was he saw the beauty in images that maybe I was a little slower to notice. This happens, though. I can be a little critical. But anyway, we're going to get right on with the judging. What we'll do is, as always, I am going to go through the 7 honorable mentions in no particular order, and then we'll get into the places. We have 10 numbered places like we do most months, but we do have a tie in second place today. So as we go through, I will show you the pictures. I don't want to make this too long a video. This is a big day. I'm working on a couple of other videos and have a live stream in a couple of hours. So we're going to make this pretty swift. So with no further ado, the first honorable mention goes to Bart Minabo for Silverfish Eye. This is a an image that I went to bat for with Lonnie. He loved the weirdness of it and the textures and the colors and the framing of the photograph, but he wasn't really familiar with the subject. And I was, having photographed these before, and I found it very, very difficult. These are not easy insects to photograph. They're rather shiny, they're very, very small, and their eye, as you can imagine, is tiny. This is a very expertly shot picture. I think it's about as good as you're going to get. I think it might have done a tad better with a little more light centrally, possibly a little less light in the periphery, something to make those eye units pop a little. But that's a minor criticism. Remember, the theme for this competition was intimate insects. And that's going to be important as we go through here, because apparently there were two rather distinctly different interpretations of the word intimate. And I didn't think it was fair to choose one or the other that would then become the rule, because I hadn't said so beforehand. So bear in mind that some of these may not appear to be intimate in the way I had intended, which was close-up of small parts of the insect. Some of them took a more direct approach. You'll see that in a minute. Next honorable mention goes to Alan Lyle for this red wasp face, or is it? Yes, red wasp face at 5 times magnification. This is a beautiful shot by Alan Lyle. It's he's got the color and the lighting absolutely perfect, and the detail in this image is spectacular. One thing that Lonnie picked up on that he found a little bit bothersome was how crowded the frame felt. He felt that there could have been a little more room at the bottom of the picture. It felt like the mandible was almost falling out of the scene. So in the end, it's just a minor compositional hiccup that was the problem here. But otherwise, a beautiful picture and an absolute textbook example of how to clean and wash an insect's head for a perfect image. Beautiful job, Alan. The next honorable mention goes to Roy Walker for this incredibly gaudy representation of Phedemus lumawigi, which is presumably some type of a rhinoceros beetle. It's not the most attractive of things, is it? But beautifully shot, very bright, very striking. Overall, a very nice picture. It's a striking photograph, and I think that we both thought it might be just a tad bit oversaturated. There was no real subtlety here. From a technical standpoint, though, it was pretty spot on. It was very well shot. There's very little artifact present in it. The background looks good. I suspect it was added after the fact, though it might not have been, because there may be some pale blue reflections actually in parts of the beetle. But overall, we both thought it was a good image, just not quite as good as some of the others. And that's just the way it goes with these competitions, isn't it? The next honorable mention goes to Lee Ayers for Keep It Simple. This is, it looks to me like the 3 oculi on the forehead of a iridescent green bee, probably an agapostemon type bee. Absolutely lovely picture. It's quite well shot. There is a little bit of focus banding in it. It's not terribly significant. He's done a great job with the light, though I don't know if he used polarizing filters or not. I suspect not, but cross-polarization would have been a consideration for me with this picture because of these areas. Now, none of this would be classified as specular highlights, but all in all, a very nice picture, and it certainly was an intimate study of an insect, no doubt about it. And we're happy to give that an honourable mention. Well done, Lee. Next up, George Simpkins, if I didn't say that. That would have been rude of me. And it's The Face of Doom is the name of the photograph. This lovely photograph, very well shot and very emotive, is some kind of a spider. I'm guessing it's a wolf spider, probably of some kind. But yeah, it has a strangely sad look to it because of the way the eyes have been shot. And I think it's really, really nice. It has the spiders are one of the hardest things to photograph because of all the bristles and the hairs and the far too many limbs and things sticking off their heads like fangs. You end up with lots of shadows and lots of places where you get overlap, and there's a risk of foreground transparency and halo. All of this is really difficult to deal with in spiders. So this is a very expertly done photograph, especially to get that amount of character and excitement in the face. The overall picture was, again, Lonnie pointed out, it felt a little crowded. But I think that we both would agree that when the subject is an intimate insect, it kind of does urge you to get in close, and that will sometimes give the appearance of crowding. It was a good photograph, just not quite good enough to keep up with the top 10. So nice job, George. The next honourable mention is the frog-legged beetle butt, I guess. Well, something like that. The abdomen of the frog-legged beetle by Rashid Al-Samati. And yeah, this is lovely. This is a nice, up-close, detailed shot of the tail end of a beetle. It's got lots of nice detail in it. It has also got a little bit of squishiness towards the tail here. I'm not sure if this is a little bit of motion or some stacking artifact. But there is something going on here. I'm not exactly sure. There appears to be some halo up around this line of contrast. And there's a little loss of definition on the back, as if the focus wasn't carried quite far enough back for a photograph that appears to be otherwise fully in focus. So it's a really good picture. It nails the theme. We both liked the color, the detail, and the somewhat abstract look of the thing. I think we both thought it might have been cleaned a little better, but yeah. That's just me. And there is one thing that is always going to help when you enter a picture in a competition, and that is when you show me something that I've never really noticed before. And I have never seen this strange pattern at the edge of the bottom segment of the abdomen on one of these beetles. But it's absolutely beautiful and very fascinating. So thank you for that. Honourable mention, well done. That was a very nice photograph, Rashad. We have two more honourable mentions. The first is for this Legyrus neglectus claw from Mike Olson. This is the claw of a beetle, and it's very nice. It's very well done. It was particularly appealing to my guest judge, Lonnie. He had never seen a beetle's leg up this close, and he was quite struck by the weirdness of it, as well as the nice detail in the photograph. There were a couple of tiny things that I probably would have tried to run a paintbrush over to remove, a couple of granules of sand, but that's just me. The picture was well lit. You could make an argument, and one of the ways I like to light these appendages is with a little bit of backlight or a little bit of rim light to pick up the red color of the exoskeleton on these appendages. You can see it in the spines, sure, but it's nice when you get that little bit showing through from the back. But that's just me. I'm not saying you should have done that. It just is a way I like to photograph these particular structures. But nice photograph. Congratulations, well done. Lonnie did mention that it felt like the claw was a little bit close to the edge of the frame again. Now, this is a recurring theme, I think, with both of us. Giving the subject a little room to breathe is always a good idea. Our last honourable mention goes to Russ Richards for crane fly ovipositor. And this is certainly kind of straddles the chasm between the two meanings of intimate in this competition. But it's a nice photograph. It really is well shot. It shows a lot of detail about the ovipositor mechanism and the various parts of a lady crane fly. But I think the only thing that kept this out of the places was the fact that the tip of the ovipositor is out of focus. Only just, but it's enough to, your attention is drawn to this point on a structure like this. I wonder if this photograph might not have been just a little bit more appealing if it had taken a more aggressive diagonal line, either from above or from below. Having it coming across the frame like this was it cost a little bit of the sense of balance. Not enough to make a huge difference, but I think it might have been a little bit more appealing at a slightly more of a diagonal angle. Just a thought worth exploring. And I'll repeat what I said about the claw of the insect. A little bit of backlighting, a little bit of rim lighting may have really helped make this pop. You do have to look pretty close to see what it is. Lonnie was particularly flattering about the darker, desaturated background. And I agree. I think that looks really good. So with the honorable mentions done, let's get on to the places. So our first image in the places is at place 10. This is a picture from Catherine Parker Sherborne, and it is a flowery hoverfly. Not exactly sure how the theme fits into this, but Lonnie thought it did. He thought that this was an intimate portrait of a hoverfly, and who am I to disagree with somebody who's sculpted Lady Di and the Pope and Mother Teresa? He said it was intimate. It's intimate. It's a beautiful shot of the fly. What needs to be in focus? The eye, the thorax, the first part of the nearest wing, all looks great. Nice shot of the antennae. It's just a nice picture, and I do like the fact that you also got some of the little florets down there in the flower sharp too. We both were wondering what the darker structure at the bottom was. I was wondering if it was maybe a spider or something that had grabbed a hold of the thing's leg. I'm not sure. Not sure what it is. Do you know, Catherine? So yeah, it's interesting. Kept me engaged looking at it. But that's number 10. Well done. Congratulations. At number 9, Thomas Biegalski with a mosquito wing. Now, this was another one that, for those of us who photograph mosquito wings, this may seem a fairly pedestrian type of image because we take these all the time. But for a couple of reasons, it was not pedestrian, and it made a big impact on Lonnie, who had never seen a mosquito wing before, and on me because of the beautiful scattering of colors that you get from this surface interference pattern, and also it's very difficult to depict these scales this well, but they're really done beautifully. And this is a good photograph. It's certainly intimate, and it's certainly beautiful. Lovely color, very little evidence of artifact. But I am imagining this is a fairly decent depth of stack to get this amount of detail. So a very nice picture, well worthy of ninth place. Congratulations, Tom. At number 8, this one was very appealing to both Lonnie and I. This is the green lacewing head, and this one was the second entry by Alan Lyle. And boy, this is a pretty picture. I love this insect. I think it takes the best portraits, the weirdest portraits too. It looks kind of like a cross between a giraffe and a giraffe. It's very strange, and this is a very successful picture of it. It's a little hard to put a finger on, but at the risk of sounding pedantic, there were only a couple of things on here that detracted very slightly from the overall appearance, and that was a little bit of haze, halo artifact that I think probably could have been dealt with in retouching. I don't know if this was retouched. It was shot at 5 times magnification, but it's overall a beautiful shot. But there is a little bit of halo that I think detract from it a tad. Also, a couple of these highlights may have losing those may have helped just a little bit to boost it. Minor points. When I look, by the way, at these eyes, this is such a smooth and reflective eye. This is another example when cross-polarization may really have saved the day. I know it would have controlled most of this stuff here. But by and large, very successful, very appealing photograph. I liked it a lot, and so did Lonnie. In place number 7, this is a beautiful photograph of Tapinoma nigerinum from Jesus Magnon Sanchez. This is a beautiful photograph with a tremendous amount of detail. It's a beautiful partial stack, which was something that intrigued Lonnie. He, of course, knows all about focus stacking, but has not seen too many partially stacked images with the deliberate cutoff in mid-thorax here. But it was very appealing to him as it is to me. It's very expertly shot. I love the way the antennae are positioned and the mandibles are opened. It's just a beautiful picture. I think there's one small thing that I don't think it lost this image any points. I think it made up for it in many other ways. But these changes in the mouth parts, the pharynx, it's typically found only in post-mortem ants and wasps. This is a typical of Hymenoptera, where when they're put to sleep, they have a tendency to evert their mouth parts like this, and I don't care for the look of it myself. It does kind of telegraph the fact that the insect is dead, and really the only reason I mention it is because I try to avoid showing this in an ant or a wasp. But it's a small point. It's a lovely photograph. Very well done. Congratulations. 7th place, Mr. Sanchez. In sixth place, Alan Rechtenwald with this really clever photograph, Freezing My Buzz Off is the name of it. And it's lovely. Now, we had decided on the place for this photograph before seeing the title. That was my fault when I was getting the pictures together to show to Lonnie. I failed to include all the titles, which is a problem because he has a great sense of humor. And he was responding very well to some of these titles. And I think he would have really loved this one. But this is a fascinating picture, and it really held my attention. First of all, and Lonnie picked up on this right away. He thought the composition and the lighting were fantastic. He also thought the subject was fascinating and complex. And we both had to look at this picture for a little while to see what was going on. It is in fact a Polistes, another Polistes paper wasp, that appears to, for some reason, to be burrowing into this plant bud or stem, and probably because I don't know. I don't know what it's trying to do in there. Maybe it's trying to get something out of there, but sharp-eyed Alan spotted it and photographed it, and I love it. I think it's a really strange photograph. I have never seen a paper wasp burrowing itself into a bud before, but for whatever reason, it works. I'm not sure what we're seeing up here, unless this is maybe just the hind wing folded up in some way, or if there's another wasp in here. There's something dark in here. So as you can see, it was pretty fascinating and interesting. And for all I know, this may actually be something that wasps do, but I don't know. I'll have to look it up. But we loved the photograph, so congratulations, Alan, on sixth place. Well done. Now, in fifth place, a former winner who can only turn in one photograph chose a good one to turn in. This is Phineas Demon by Robert Stowrost. This is similar to a photograph I've seen from Robert before, but I really liked it, and so did Lonnie. He thought that it took him a minute to realize what he was looking at, that this was like another rhinoceros beetle, but from the front. And it's very effective. The way it almost looks like a green ski slope in the back there with these hills and valleys, and this ginormous spike in the front, very imposing. It's beautifully coordinated photograph as far as the placement of all of the elements. It doesn't feel crowded, even though it fills the frame, because of the fact that what we're really looking for when we talk about crowding are the main features, the things that our eyes are setting on. And he has us firmly looking at the eyes and between the eyes, and then figuring out the beetle and looking up to see the rest of the horn structure. A close look gives this kind of fiendish grin effect with the front of his shovel-like pronotum. I think that's what it is. Anyway, nice view of his front appendages too. So it's an overall very effective, very appealing picture. Once again, Lonnie just loved the colors. The greens and blues work perfectly well. We both commented on the red background as being particularly well suited to this beetle. It works, as you would expect. Very complementary color. Okay, let's look at number 4. It's getting interesting now, guys, and I think you'll start to see why we had so many good honorable mention photographs. This is Frostbite Weaver from Andrew Sanfilippo. Now, this is actually one of 2 identical photographs with different names that were submitted by Andrew. So I am assuming that he accidentally submitted the same photograph twice. I'd love to know what the other photograph was, because this one was absolutely fantastic. Immediately, Lonnie jumped on this. The name, he said the spider looks cold, which I guess it does. I've never thought about that before. These being warm climate individuals, but yeah, the fact that you have the cool looking mint green background, and the I guess this is crumpled up white paper or something like that in the foreground, but it looks for all the world like snow. And I just love the plane of focus here. I'm guessing this is a single focal plane shot of a relatively small spider, but the eyes are in perfect focus, as are the fascinating spiky hairs, and you can even see the coloured palps behind the pedipalps here. This is the chelicerae, I guess, in the back, that are yellow and pink and green, and it's very subtle, very beautiful, almost impossible to take your eyes away from, and I just absolutely loved it. It is well done, and definitely worthy of fourth place, which tells you what in the world must be coming up next. Well, the next thing is from Bart Minabo again. This is the second time we've heard this man's name in this competition, but this is a strikingly beautiful shot of an ant's eye. Very, very expertly done, certainly very intimate. Lonnie, who has never seen this before, never seen an ant this close, was absolutely riveted to the textures and the surface and the translucence of parts of it and the color. He just thought this was absolutely the most fascinating thing that he'd seen in a long time, and I actually agree. I think this is just an expertly executed shot. There is a tiny little bit of halo, but I wouldn't. Yeah, I forget I said that. That's not worth mentioning. It's really pretty close to a flawless picture, and I really liked it. And yeah, if it wasn't for three pictures that beat it out, it would have won. Let's get to position number 2. We have 2 images that made it to second place because we could not decide between the 2. The first or second of the 2 second places goes to Patrick Stale for this remarkable picture with a fantastic title. A beautiful rear can also endear is the title of this photograph. And it is, in fact, a beautiful rear. This is the last segment of the abdomen of, I'm not sure what. It looks like probably it is a weevil's rear end because of the round scales. That is certainly reminiscent of a lot of the weevils I've seen, but I'm not absolutely sure of that. The way it's been shot is so clever because instead of seeing the tissue underneath the scales, that just blends in with the black background, and instead what we're seeing is almost this halo effect coming off the scales, and it's beautiful and it's subtle, and if you can't see it, you need to turn the lights down in your room and look, but this has got a wonderful otherworldly glow coming from these magical shimmering scales. It's worth mentioning here that before becoming a full-time sculptor and painter, Lonnie designed clothes for a living and did so for some very, very big names. And his own brand was very popular for many years. And he looked at this and was immediately reminded of some of the over-the-top fabrics that were used in fashion back in those days. he gave me the name of one of them, and I can't for the life of me remember it. But it does have a shimmery kind of chainmail quality to it. All in all, a beautiful and interesting picture. And this is one of those pictures that I would love to hang on my wall because it is a conversation piece. It's beautiful. It's engaging, and it's unique and different. And I love that. So, congratulations, Patrick! You were a big hit with Lonnie, and this picture is one of my favorites. What you tied with was by Mike Minio, and this is Caterpillar Pillows. A very interesting name for an absolutely beautiful photograph. This is the butt end of a caterpillar, which is presumably where the intimate part comes in. But what I really love about this is the translucent, almost transparent effect you get with this pale green lava. You can see the spiracles here on the body in the middle of each of these segments, emptying into the airways underneath. You can make them out through the integument. Same with the muscular base of the bristles. And these feet with the tiny hooks are just incredible. It's a very, very beautiful and interesting picture, and we both really loved the use of light and shadow on the underside of the stem, and the color of the sky. It just was a hit on every level. I still love looking at this. It's a beautiful picture, cleverly named, and a worthy tie for second place. Well done, Mike Minio. This is a gorgeous photograph. So that leaves us with only one to go, which would be the winner. And one of the things we do in this competition is if you win it, we take away your ability to enter 2 photographs so that you probably won't win it again, so that other people can. But then every now and again somebody just says, well, the heck with that, I'll still win it. And that's exactly what Klaus Gilloy did this month with one of the most exciting pictures I have seen since I saw his first picture of an oak hopper about a month ago. This is a hand stacked, hand shot picture of the rear end, the exhaust mechanism of an oak tree hopper. I'm pretty sure this is the oak tree hopper. What it actually is and what it looks like are 2 completely different things. I mean, Lonnie was in stitches looking at this because it looks made up. It looks like a cosplay helmet that an armadillo is wearing on his head with the hairy snout sticking out the bottom. There's all kinds of ways you could look at this. This looks like a First World War German infantry helmet. But all in all, the thing is about as strange and otherworldly as a macro photograph can be. The muted colors work perfectly. The signature style that Klaus has developed using in-camera high-speed focus stacking with very powerful lighting is quite unique, and it's getting to the point where I can recognize these photographs a mile away. But that does not in any way detract from the fact that it is the best photograph that I saw in this competition. Not to put too fine a point on it, and I certainly don't want to embarrass Klaus, but I would love to be able to focus stack in my studio as well as he does it handheld in the field. And I mean that most sincerely. It's a beautiful photograph. Lonnie loved it. He thought it was one of the most unique and interesting, fascinating things he'd seen all day. We both loved the color. We both loved the framing. We both loved the background, and the whole look of the thing was just striking and pleasing and gripping, and just would not let your attention leave it. So, congratulations, Klaus. I think we need to come up with a new format for penalizing people who win this competition every time. We might take your camera away. I want to thank Lonnie for his time and his patience and his expertise in going through all of these photographs with me. The man is a genius, and his art is breathtaking. You're going to be seeing a whole lot more of it in the coming months as he and I work together. Lonnie didn't get to where he is as an artist and a sculptor by wasting time on the weekends, and I'm so grateful to him for taking the afternoon to go through all of these pictures. He thoroughly enjoyed it. He loved all the images, and he had something nice to say about every single one of these pictures, including the ones that didn't make it to the finals. He would love to do this again, and I will take him up on that. But I'm very grateful to him for his time. Thank you, Lonnie. And all of you, thank you for entering. As always, without your entries, this competition wouldn't exist. So don't forget, the month of November is combined with December for a wildcard macro photography competition. You can send in any macro pictures you want, and you are allowed to submit 3 this month, and that goes for Klaus as well as everybody else. It doesn't matter if you've won or not, you can submit 3 of your best pictures for this competition. It is going to be judged by me and Lester Lefkowitz. It is going to have prizes like you wouldn't believe, a full color calibration system for your cameras and computer, as well as signed Lester Lefkowitz books, and something else brilliant that I'll come up with. So start thinking about how you're going to blow us all away in November and December with your best pictures of the year. Congratulations to our winners, Bart, Mike, and Patrick, and of course to Klaus for his masterful Rocket Man winning photograph. I'll leave you with those winning pictures, and I'll see you in the next thing. Until then, stay safe and be well.